Hi, I'm Brother Jake. Now, there are a lot of people out there that think that what Mormons believe about modesty is a sexist double standard or promotes a fear of sexuality, but that's not true at all. Let me explain. The thing is, our bodies are a super awesome gift from God, and it's a really important part of His plan to give us commandments to keep our bodies safe from sin. And one of the worst sins you can commit with your body is breaking the law of chastity, which is the rule that you shouldn't have, sex or anything before you're married and only do, with your spouse after you're married. And it's a pretty big deal for God. In fact, the Book of Mormon says that breaking the law of chastity is the third worst sin ever, right below murder. Anyway, the commandment of modesty tells us that we should all be nice and covered up in the way we dress so that people aren't tempted to do Now, there are some people that think that just because pretty much all the church curriculum and general conference statements about the subject of modesty are filled with very female-specific stuff and pretty much nothing male-specific, that means that the modesty policy is sexist. But that's not true. Modesty applies to everybody. So, girls shouldn't wear stuff like really tight pants or short shorts or short skirts or bikinis or tank tops or spaghetti-striped dresses or spaghetti-striped shirts or sleeveless dresses or tube tops or low-cut shirts or shirts that show their stomachs. And guys shouldn't wear, really short shorts either, I guess. Okay, so even if the subject of modesty in the church is a tiny bit female-oriented, that's not our fault. It's biology. After all, we all know that men are just burning bags of uncontrollable lust, while women are dainty, beautiful, innocent, asexual creatures. So if a dude walked around without a shirt on, women wouldn't even notice because they're not into that kind of thing. But if a woman has bare shoulders, it's way more likely to cause a dude to have those super bad thoughts about, If only there was some modern-day apostle that could put this in a way that's totally not hyperbolic or objectifying at all. Oh, yeah.
And young women, please understand that if you dress immodestly, you are magnifying this problem by becoming pornography to some of the men who see you.
Exactly. So it's not our fault if there's more stuff targeted at women when we talk about modesty, because when women dress immodestly, it's going to be way more likely to make men have bad thoughts. And you don't want to make somebody more likely to commit those almost as bad as murder type sins, do you? And sure, looking at female modesty that way might kind of seem like it's reinforcing a rape culture where women are responsible for men's behavior, which kind of makes you wonder why men don't just take responsibility for their own freaking thoughts and actions and stop blaming their problems on other people. But like I said, it's just the way men are. So, what are you going to do? I mean, everyone knows that the idea that women can subdue male urges by being more covered up is totally legit and doesn't fly in the face of rigorous studies on sexual violence at all. Plus, what else are we supposed to do when the morally eroded, terrible, awful, wicked society that we live in constantly sexualizes women? We're just trying to teach them to stay modest so that everyone can be pure and virtuous and we can make God happy. Just like this nice lady church leader says.
Never hesitate to teach them that they are royal daughters of God and that their value is not based on their sensual appeal.
Exactly. We're trying to unsexualize women. We're doing the opposite of what society is doing. I mean, sure, I guess you could say, but constantly reinforcing the idea to young women they have to cover their bodies to avoid being too sexual draws so much attention to the connection between the female figure and sexual appeal that it actually sexualizes and objectifies them just as much as any billboard with bikinis on it. But that's just crazy. How does telling a 5-year-old girl not to wear sleeveless dresses because it's immodest and she needs to cover up her body reinforce a sexualized body image more than a movie where a woman has bare shoulders? The first stuff is helping people grow up to stay pure and righteous, while the other stuff is a temptation from the devil to try to get people to do super bad stuff. They're totally different. Plus, this whole modesty thing isn't about just helping people to avoid sin. It's about helping you find the right person to marry later on, just like this nice church leader says.
In the end, most women get the type of man they dress for.
Exactly. That's why we have that awesome saying, modest is hottest, because dressing modestly is the only way to be really attractive to a person that's pure and righteous and going to help you get into super awesome VIP temples and super awesome VIP heaven so you can do cool God stuff. And sure, it might seem like kind of a contradictory message to on one hand accept the paradigm that one of the purposes of female dress and appearance is to attract a mate, and on the other maintain the idea that the purpose of female modesty is to help men avoid having bad thoughts and commit sin, but that's why it's so great that we have access to prophetic counsel to help young women everywhere navigate their appearance and body image from a group of super cool elderly white gentlemen. Now, at this point you might still be saying, but obsessing about sexual purity to the point that it dictates how you dress creates a collective mentality that promotes a fear-based view of sex and intimacy which can cripple a person emotionally later on in life. But that's not true at all. We're not promoting fear about, sex is a really important part of God's plan for these really awesome bodies He gave us. After all, it's how we get families. We just think that people should respect their bodies and sexuality. And just like any other really awesome thing you respect, like lightning or a velociraptor or a grizzly bear, it's important to be safe with it so you don't go around committing sins that are almost as bad as murder. Think about it like this. Our sexual virtue is like a piece of gum. Everybody loves gum, but when it's like somebody chewed your gum up. And nobody wants a chewed up piece of gum, am I right? And getting to the point where you're having relations is a slippery slope. It starts off with a short skirt or a tank top, and the next thing you know, your gum's all chewed and it has dirt and bugs and lint and all kinds of stuff in it. Nobody wants that gum. So in the end, it's better to stay far away from that kind of thing by covering up your awesome body that you're totally not afraid of at all, so you don't become a chewed up piece of gum that nobody wants. So you see, it's all about respect.